Hello, well in this film I'm going to show you some of the best green woodworking in the UK. And you might be saying, green woodworking? Well, what do I mean? It's basically where you cut down a tree and you use the wood while it still has a high moisture content, because it's easier to cut and carve, and then you let it season out carefully. And there's the organisation, the Association of Pole Lavers and Green Woodworkers, sometimes known as a Bodgers in the UK, that holds an annual gathering called the Bodgers Ball, and it's basically having great fun with green woodworking. And here are the competition entries from the Bodgers Ball for 2015. And I'm going to show you everything in this film excepting chairs and stools, so all the other wooden entries, and I've done it as a camera hover across the table so you can see what's going on. And at the moment we're looking at the spoons, and these are the sanded finish spoons. We actually have two classes of spoon. We have sanded finish and knife finish. So these two spoons have all been made by members of the association, and spoon carving is actually very popular. It's growing in popularity. I suppose it's kind of thing you can pick up a bit of firewood and you can start whittling away with a knife. And it's not too expensive to get into either. If you have an axe, probably one sharp pointy knife and a hollowing out type knife or gouge, you're really set up for spoon carving. And it's a nice social activity. It's a little bit like knitting clubs in as much as you can all sit around the campfire or whatever and carve your spoons, and it's quite challenging. We like to encourage young people to have a go at competition entries, so we have a junior class for children up to the age of 16, and there's quite an age range in this class of entries, and obviously as a result quite a different levels of skill. But it's always nice seeing what they do, and it's great to have children come along and give it a go. Now at the Bodgers Ball we had around 350 members of the association come along, so not a bad turnout. Membership in the UK is about 900, and we have about 20 people overseas. Always welcome to have more members. It's very cheap to join, and it's a good chance to meet up with old friends. It's a nice chance to see what's happening in the world of green woodwork, and of course there are lots of competitions to enter, like log to leg races, and we had a special new one this year called the Egg and Spoon Race, and I've put a little film up about that already, so that was quite a fun one. But the variety of items here and people's inventiveness is always jolly interesting, and I like seeing what people come up with. Here's a lovely chair actually done by one of the children, and I would say that was quite impressive for an adult's entry, but that's a child's chair there being entered by a child, and it's pretty nice bit of turning. Of course, you've got to bear in mind that most of these competition entries have been done completely with hand tools, so you're not allowed to use power lathes for the turning. Any turning has to be done on a foot operated pole lathe. And generally people should be using hand tools to make these items. If you do use power tools, you have to disclose it on your competition entry form, and you'll see these little tickets on the entries here, and they actually say what materials have been used, so what type of wood, and they also say whether any power tools have been used. So they're always quite informative and quite interesting to see, because sometimes the wood selection isn't that obvious. The judging in the competitions is actually very democratic, because each person who attends gets a voting form, and they have each of the competition classes listed, and people can then score their first, second and third choice, and these are added up during the course of the 2-day ball, and winners are announced. So it is very democratic. There's not like a panel of judges or anything like that. It's the people who attend vote for the items, which I think is quite a nice touch actually. There is competition prize money for the entries, so it's a good incentive to enter, and actually it's great that people do enter, because it is a chance to see what's going on and what kinds of standards people are reaching. And I must say, when you look at these spoons, I think the standard's fantastic, and it's quite inspiring really. You look at these and you think, oh yes, I want to have a go at one of those. I do like spoon carving. I have only recently really got into spoon carving, as you've probably seen with my spoon mule film. But there's quite a lot to it to actually get the spoon looking nice and delicate and a nice sort of shape. And I'm beginning to get there, but it's taken me quite a few spoons to feel that I am beginning to get the basics of it. These are very good spoons overall, and you can tell that the people who've made these have a lot of skill and a lot of practice. It's always nice when we get some international visitors at the Bodgers Ball, and I'd like to say a special hello to Steve and Terry, who came over from the States. It's great to see you guys and have a chat. They actually, I know, watched some of my films, so it was nice. Be able to share ideas and have a little really general catch up. This is quite a fun entry here. This is a spoon, a fork and a knife all in one. A bit like a spork, I suppose. And I like the sort of detail on this spoon. Very nicely done. I'm having a go at the moment at carving some English eating spoons, which are quite long and thin in the handle. I've had a go at a few Scandinavian type spoons as well, but I quite like the idea of trying to master one type of spoon and then progress onto other types. This was fun, a hazelnut at the end of a spoon. So quite good fun, it does look quite attractive. And I like the sort of knife work on these spoons, where you get the little patterning being done. It takes a little while, but it does look quite impressive. Now we have a class for non-turned treen, and this is quite interesting because you get things like the cook scissors, and I think these are actually quite a fun thing perhaps to progress onto once one's had a go at a few spoons. As always, there's plenty of scope to try different things. I imagine this one was particularly hard to carve out as it was a birch burr, but it does look quite amazing. You see that nice grain patterning of the burr. Lovely colours, and really just, you know, lovely. You wouldn't be able to go to a shop to buy something like that very easily, so it's just nice to see these things. And that's it really. It's nice. People meet up in local groups. The Association of Pole Lathe Turners and Green Woodworkers has quite a few what we call local groups. So dotted around the country there will be, you know, a Kent group, a Sussex group, a Surrey group, etc., where people will meet up periodically and share knowledge, share bits of wood, share ideas, and have a go at doing different things. And it's nice because you learn a lot from other people. I go along quite regularly to the local groups and I impart some of my knowledge and I learn a lot from other people. So it's a good, you know, it's a win-win really for everyone, and it's a nice bit of comradeship and friendship as well. We like to move the venue for the Bodgers Ball around the country. So last year it was down in Hurstmonceux in Sussex, down at the bottom of the UK. This time I say it was near Mansfield, which is roughly in the centre of the UK. So we try and mix it around, and then hopefully like that people from around the country can attend. Some people just come for the day, some come for the whole weekend, and we do provide camping on site, which is always quite nice because it allows people to enjoy some evening activities. Some people prefer to stay in local B&Bs and hotels and what have you, so really quite a mix. I actually got a bit caught out this year because I was staying in a local B&B, well, what I thought was going to be a local one, but actually we shifted the site at the sort of last minute, so I ended up being probably about 20 miles away, but it didn't matter too much. But normally I try and get somewhere fairly close by, which is always nice. Some of the tents and motorhomes in the camping area are, let's just say, they're not conventional ones. So you have yurts and you have teepees and you have converted army trucks for camping in. Very good actually, and very sensible, and certainly far more character. A very nice top hat just gone past there, and a nice bit of basket work. And at the Bodgers Ball, some of the members are very helpful and good actually. They give their time. So a lady regularly teaches basket making at the ball and gives people a chance to have a go at making baskets, which is very good of her, and it's nice to see. A nice bit of hurdle work there, and no nails, held by wooden plugs. And how about this? You can crush your apples and make cider. A little press just coming into view here. Perhaps an idea for all those nicely fallen apples in September. The turned treen, wonderful chalice type arrangement here, which did win, and very justifiably so. That's been turned on a pole lathe, just to be clear, not a power lathe, a pole lathe. So really amazingly skilled piece of work. I enjoy looking around at these competition entries. It's nice to hear people's comments. It's nice to see the pieces of work as well. The association is actually growing in membership all the time. Number goes up very slightly each year. We try and keep the subs as low as possible so that really people can feel they can join and it's not too expensive. And we issue a very nice quarterly magazine which is full of colour photos and well worth having, frankly, for the membership money alone. Tool making, as always, is quite popular, and you've probably seen me messing around making the odd tool here and there, like a travisher or a spoon hollowing tool. Well, here's a nice axe that someone's made, and of course a nice handle and a nice leather cover. And this is the thing, really, it doesn't have to be restricted to woodwork. You can do metalwork if you want to, you can do leather work, you can do sewing. All these activities sort of merge in their scope to enjoy them all and share your knowledge. I must say I do like the green woodworking because it's far more sort of in touch with nature. You're seeing the tree, you cut it down, you get the wood from it. There's no sawdust. You look at the sort of wood form, the grain, the direction of that grain. I think far more than you do, and I do both types of woodwork, as you know, but far more I think than you do cabinet work and things like that, because you're usually using hand tools and you're having to work with the wood with the tools. So it's quite a good discipline really to get behind. Now each year we have what we call a themed item, and this year it was to make something using recycled or reclaimed materials. And we change it sometimes. If we're near a coastal area, one year we did something for the beach as the theme. But it's quite nice to have a little bit of sort of local inventiveness, and usually the local group that helps host the ball decides what the themed item will be. So recycling was big around here. How about that for pallet wood? A nice fan bird. And a nice axe, I think coming, a dump found axe with an ash wood and a cupboard door. Well, there you are. You can look at cupboard doors quite differently. Quite good fun seeing again just the inventiveness. And I think shortly you'll see I was quite taken by, it was a picture frame made from recycled bottles. I didn't appreciate they were bottles at first. I looked at this picture frame and thought, well, that's quite good fun, it's a bit different. But closer inspection you can see that they are actually recycled bottles. This knife sheath cover you will see in a minute as I turn it round. CAT, cat boots. So made from a nice heavy duty pair of boots being repurposed. And here we have some old bobbins from a mill with some nice handmade rope. It's a nice skipping rope there. There was quite a good demonstration of someone making nice bramble rope from bramble. There's a spoon tool, a bit like one of the ones I've made in one of the films. I think actually made by one of my friends, that one. So you get all sorts of things really. Some of them you look at them and you think, what's that all about? What's it for? I quite like this shave horse. It's basically, as you can see, a ladder acting as the clamp down area. Why not? And look at this, a tractor seat whizzing round. Quite a nice idea of that actually. It was quite comfortable. I did sit in it. There's a little notice on it saying, please sit in me. The Bodgers Ball itself starts on a Friday afternoon and goes on all day Saturday and most of the day Sunday. So finish about 4 o'clock on a Sunday. But there's lots going on. There's lots of tool sales. We have the charity Tools for Self-Reliance there. So you can pick up some very nice tools, and some of the members sell things that they make, and we have a few of the trade fair as well. So it's a good chance to get a few tools if you need them. Here's the picture frame I mentioned, made from the recycled bottles. And rather colourful and quite delicate actually. You can see, once you know it's bottles, it's fairly obvious. Bottles and copper wire. But I thought very effective. I particularly liked that. And some small, slightly unusual tree growth here. Now we have what we call an exhibition table, and these are non-competition entries, but it's where members can show their craft. And it's quite interesting. People don't take huge advantage of this facility, but it's nice to see when people do put things there. I think this is about the 2nd year we've been running this exhibition table, and hopefully as time goes on we'll get more and more things being shown. There's quite a good chance that people can put their name to it if they want to as well, and they can sell the items as well. It's amazing what you can buy at a Bodgers Ball. I came away this year with a nice greenhouse sprayer, which I got from a regular there. He does some lovely stuff, and it was only £1, but a nice old sort of Victorian Edwardian sprayer. And here we are, we have the prize giving. This takes place on the Sunday, and people get their certificate and their prize money, and that's always good fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching that, and thanks very much. Bye bye.